Hello folks, and welcome to Paddock Pass, your post-race edition for the 2019 Bahrain Grand Prix. We should be starting right there at Ferrari, and instead we're starting here at Mercedes. It was the weekend that Charles Leclerc, if he hadn't already, properly announced himself in Formula One. Pole position by 3 whopping tenths of a second over Sebastian Vettel, 4-time Formula One world champion. And he may have lost the lead at the start of the Grand Prix, but he fought back with some aplomb to take his teammate and stretch his legs into a 10-second lead, and then disaster. Formula One, motorsport in general, can do that to you. It can be a cruel mistress on occasions, and it was today. Lady Luck not shining, not smiling at Charles Leclerc, smiling instead on Lewis Hamilton, who took the win. Valtteri Bottas came through in second. We say Lady Luck didn't smile at Charles Leclerc today, but with a double Renault retirement in the closing laps, the safety car came out, and what could have turned into a 4th place for Leclerc was actually saved by that safety car coming out and stopping Verstappen, who was herring up to the back of him, from actually getting past. Leclerc will be massively disappointed, as you're about to see, and yet he should feel no disappointment or shame in what was a weekend where he had everyone put to rights. You should take a lot of pride out of today. I know it wasn't what you wanted, but I think everyone can see that today was yours.
It's like this, it's part of motorsport. Sometimes it's just not your day, and today it was not ours. We've had an issue with electrical issue. I could not recover any more energy, and then we were just slow. So it's a shame today, but as all the team is disappointed, I am also. But on the other hand, they have gave me an amazing car all weekend long, and this is all their credits. The car was easy to drive, all the race was good until the issue, and as I've said, it happens in a race, but we took the best out of it. Anyway, first podium. Obviously, I'm not enjoying it as much as I wanted, but it's life. It happens, and we'll come back stronger.
Until that issue, how enjoyable was today? Taking the fight to Seb, taking the fight to everyone, and then leading and controlling the field with ease.
Yeah, I think we were very strong today overall, so I was very happy with my race. Nothing much to add.
It wasn't looking like it was going to be a great weekend, but a podium at the end has got to fill you guys with some happiness.
Yeah, you know, it's weird to have luck like this. You know, I'm used to only bad luck, so I take it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not only luck as well. It's our car was the most reliable today. So that is down to all the hard work back at the factory. But otherwise, difficult race, honestly. With the windy conditions, very unpredictable. One lap to another, the cars just felt different, and it was difficult to really trust the car. So I'm sure it was the same for everyone, but I think I ended up making a few more mistakes because of that.
Lewis obviously was the only one out of the two of you that had the fresh set of softs. Is that ultimately the difference in the result today?
Well, for sure it makes a difference, but I had a scrap set at some point. I can't really remember who used which tires, but anyways, good result.
As you said, you've been on the other end of some bad luck. Can you feel for Charles today?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's tough luck for him. He had a great weekend, strong pace in qualifying. I think he would have deserved to win today, but it's going to come at some point.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Lady Luck can be a fickle and sometimes cruel mistress. It seems she was smiling for you today.
I don't know whether she was smiling at me, but obviously was not at Charles today, and he thoroughly deserved the win today. He did an exceptional job all weekend, so really proud of him, and I know it's a really tough experience to go through what he's going through, but he will learn. He's already so strong this weekend. He will bounce back, he will grow. This will be another layer to his young greatness already, and I'm looking forward to many battles with him hopefully in the future.
You talk about battles. You had a great one with Sebastian today. How much did you enjoy that?
Man, that's what I live for, dude. That's honestly, I pray that I have moments like that through my career. And if you look at all the races I've done in my life, or at least in Formula One, considering we've done 200 plus whatever races, there's probably not been a huge amount of those kind of moments that you're alongside a multiple world champion, and it's kind of decisive, win or lose. And So I love it. And naturally, when you come out in front, it feels even better than it does if you lose position. But I'm just grateful that we got to have a battle.
And of course, Ferrari have two drivers, it seems, capable of winning Grand Prix, capable of fighting for the World Championship. How much do you relish that, but how much work have you got to do to get on terms with them after today?
You know, we definitely, obviously the last race was mesmerizing for us performance-wise and clearly flattering for us. Don't know why all of a sudden Ferrari picked up masses of pace this weekend, but they're always quick here anyways, but for whatever reason we had lost performance. So it's difficult to say just how big a mountain we have to climb, but we do have good things to come. But the car was really, really hard work this weekend, and it did not like this track. And so, you know, for example, you know I don't like testing. I decided to do the test on Tuesday because we had some things come in, and I'm like, I don't want anyone else to test my car, and I want to test these parts and make sure that the decisions that we're taking steer it in the way that we need it. And you know, I'm a team player. I want it to be the right way for us team, and so that's why I chose to do it. So, you know, we work together closely as a unit, and I know the guys back at the factory are working flat out.
The slightly sombre top to the show belied what was a brilliant race. I mean, genuinely fantastic Grand Prix that had us all on the edge of our seats from the start all the way to the end. One guy who actually didn't have that much of an exciting race, bizarrely enough, was Max Verstappen, who came home fourth. Quite a lonely race for him on a weekend where I think Red Bull expected a little bit more and will be scratching their heads. Both drivers, though, not massively happy with the setup of their car, particularly Pierre Gasly. Struggled in qualifying again. Didn't have a very easy race either, but with the double Renault retirement at the end, came home not just in 10th, but in 8th place. So good points on the board for him, but I think for both of those drivers, a weekend where they expected more and a car that really doesn't suit either of them at the moment. So nearly a podium, an unexpected one perhaps today. Talk us through what was, I think, quite an exciting race for everyone.
Not so much for me. No, just lacking pace and lacking balance, so it was not really enjoyable out there with the wind as well. So he's sliding around a lot, and of course when you're already oversteering a lot, it just makes it a lot more difficult. So he's basically hanging on all the time, every stint, to bring it to the end. Yeah, and in the end we could have fought for a podium, but we anyway didn't deserve to be on the podium with the pace we had. So at the end of the day, I'm not too disappointed with Ford.
What do you need to change? Is it the inherent characteristics of the car that aren't suited to you? Are you going to have to change some of the way that you drive to suit the car?
No, I mean I'm not an engineer. You know, I'm not the one who's pointing out that, but I always try to do the best I can with the car I have, and yeah, in Australia it was better. This time I think we had some difficulties, so we'll try to analyze everything and try to do better in China.
That was quite the race for you today. A lot of battling, a lot of fighting.
Yeah, a lot of fighting. We still don't finish where I would like to be and where we would like to be with the team, but I think there are some positives overall. And now I think it's just a matter of working on my side, see what I can improve, because I need to adapt to this car. It's different to what I felt last year, and at the moment I still don't feel I can push with it, and I need to see what I can change and what I need to change to get the maximum out of it, and what we can do with the engineers to make it feel more suitable to my driving.
That's interesting. So you think you're going to need to change yourself rather than changing the car?
I think it's a bit both ways, you know. For sure you need to make an effort and adapt, because each car is different. Last year probably the car suit more my driving style, and I managed to find a setup which will suit my driving a bit quicker than this year, and this year I'm struggling more. And yesterday was the case. Today I still feel I'm a bit of a passenger in the car. I cannot attack and cannot drive how I want, so yeah, I need to work on myself and work with the guys and try to find a direction to make me feel more comfortable to push.
So we've dealt with one Ferrari, but there was a point in the race where it was a Ferrari 1-2. Sebastian Vettel, what happened to him today? Well, in the end, he had a big scrap with Lewis Hamilton, as you've already heard about from Lewis Hamilton. But as Lewis swept around the outside of Vettel at turn 4, he spun under his own steam, and then his front wing fell off. Was that caused by the flat spotted tyres? Was it caused by contact with the racing point of, we believe, Lance Stroll? I don't think even Seb is quite aware of that at the moment. He's massively disappointed. It was a Ferrari 1-2 on the grid, but Sebastian Vettel came home a very disappointed 5th. Sebastian, talk us through the race today. Obviously not the result that you or the team wanted.
No, I think it's pretty clear if you start in the front and you don't finish in the front, then you can't be happy.
What exactly was the issue for you today? Was it tyres? Was it car related? Where did you struggle?
Well, I struggled with grip overall, especially the first stint on the soft tyre was really poor. So not sure why, to be honest. With the medium it was a bit better, but yeah, overall tricky day, and then obviously losing a lot of ground with the spin. I need to have a look again, but I lost the rear quite quickly and got surprised. Obviously after that, yeah, it was very, very tricky.
What happened with the front wing there? We saw you get close with the Force India. Did you make contact or?
No, I don't know. It felt as if there was already a little bit of damage. Maybe I did touch, I'm not sure. And certainly had some vibrations from the tires, from the spin. Yeah, so good job.
Better luck next time. Thank you. After the promise, unfulfilled promise, let's say, of Australia, a great weekend for McLaren here in Bahrain. Both drivers in the top 10 in qualifying, but only one in the points come the race end. That was Lando Norris with P6. You're going to hear from him in a second. He was absolutely delighted. Carlos Sainz, unfortunately, a retirement again, but he did have a very enjoyable start to the race. We spoke to him after the Grand Prix, and he said he loved the fact that he was able to take the fight not just to the Red Bull, but also to the Mercedes at the start, showing just how much promise and potential there is in this package. And the words he said was, who would have imagined 5 months ago that's where we'd be and that's who we'd be fighting with? And I think very true words from Carlos Sainz, showing the potential within this package. We're going to hear, though, from Lando Norris, P6, first points in Formula One in his second Grand Prix. After Australia, you weren't too happy. No. Can you be happy now?
Yeah, I can.
I think you should be.
I can be. Yeah, obviously P6, first points in Formula One, and it's not like we just scraped into P10 or P9 or anything. We had very good pace today. Could have been a little bit better. I had a bit of contact in the beginning of the race, put me down a bit, but I could come back, which made it a bit more fun. I think I could do some racing for once, and for the first time this year, because Australia was too hard to overtake. So I could have a bit more fun, enjoy it a bit more, which was very nice. And yeah, P6 was just a massive bonus.
What did you learn about the car, the overall package?
Well, I think, I'm not going to say which bits, but we seemed really strong in some areas and not so good in others. Well, actually, we're not so good in the corners and we're quite good in the straights. So, I mean,
you're just giving that away then?
Yeah, it's quite simple. Every team knows that. But yeah, I think it obviously gives us a good chance to overtake if we can manage the tyres well, which is a good positive compared to last year. So I look forward to some tracks which might suit us a bit more than here. But overall, I'm very happy with P6.
A good day once again for Alfa Romeo. Kimi Raikkonen coming home in P7. Antonio Giovinazzi just outside the points in P11, proving again that this car and this team are very much within the midfield battle, taking it to the likes of Renault and McLaren. Really good weekend from them. Kimi Raikkonen, full of lots of words, quite surprisingly. Looked like quite a fun race.
Yeah, most parts I would say. In the middle was very difficult moment. The car was so bad in, not really car, but I think the condition with the wind and the tires, they were working absolutely fine on the second part of the lap, but when we had the tailwind into 6, 7, 8, 10 was very difficult. So that was a little bit difficult, and we swapped the last set of tires and the car was very good. I was fuel saving on the beginning and we still caught up with the others, but a little bit shame that we didn't got the one place with McLaren, but yeah, I could get a few runs on him, but every time on the exits when you get that close, you just lose enough traction on that very first part that we couldn't get the run on him.
Great job, thank you. Another good weekend as well for Toro Rosso, again showing that the promise that they displayed in Australia was not just a one-off for the opening race. Danny Kvyat was having a good Grand Prix until he had a little bit of contact with Giovinazzi and spun. Alex Albon, though, continually improving, taking those steps as a rookie driver, came home in 9th, first points in Formula One, and this very measured, humble and almost quite shy chap. Quite delighted, and deservedly so, with a really great weekend's performance. Second race in Formula One, first Formula One points. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a busy race. I felt like I was always fighting at some point. There was always something to do. I had a bad start though. I was a little bit shy into the first corner. But yeah, we had a good strategy and we had pretty good pace on the prime tyre. Then lucked into it a little bit with the Renaults, but oh yeah, I'll take it.
You said yesterday the car was coming more and more to your liking. In race trim today, was it the car that you wanted?
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just so tricky with the wind out there, so we were kind of like, we're doing the formation lap and everything like that, and the laps of the grid, and it was a little bit like, I don't really know what the car's doing. It's so unpredictable, but we just knew we can't really do anything because of it being so windy. But yeah, the car was good. I think we were good on the tyres. Just as I said, the start was a little bit slow, and that train was just unbelievable. And as soon as you get anywhere near anyone, the tyres overheat, so you're kind of just stuck there. But no, I'm happy. Yeah.
Brilliant job. Well done, mate. Pretty difficult weekend for Sport Pacer Racing. Got the pronunciation correct now. Been told how to say it. Sport Pacer. Just so you know. Tougher weekend for them here. They struggled pretty much all the way through practice, weren't expecting terribly much, but that said, Sergio Perez still managed to bring the car home in the points in P10, albeit mostly thanks to, of course, those Renault retirements in the final laps. Lance Stroll, not such a hot day today, wasn't able to do what he'd done in Australia and bring points home. P14 at the flag for him, and a couple of biffs and buffs on the way. You're going to hear, though, from Sergio Perez on what for him I think was an unexpected haul of points at the end of a difficult weekend.
We just put the car where it didn't belong, and yeah, we were lucky in the end with the two retirements from the Renaults. Also a bit unlucky with the safety car because I was so close to Albon before the safety car came, so I think P9 was achievable today. So given the struggles we had, it's not a bad result for us. I think it's probably our worst track of the year. So I think this is the bottom for us, and from then on we have to remember that it's a long season, so the important thing is that we improve step by step and race by race.
Great job, thank you. One man who knows only too well how good Charles Leclerc is, our good friend Alex. Alex, welcome. I think, is this your first time on Paddock?
It is my first time. I've made it, Will. I've made it.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Charles had that amazing win here back in his F2 days, didn't he? You know what kind of a racer he is. What have we seen from him today? Is it just confirming everything that you knew about the guy?
We knew he had pace, so the pole position wasn't surprising. But man, the way he is taken to Ferrari, which, let's be honest, is a completely different beast to everything else in this pit lane. It's been amazing, and there's a sort of collective sort of downbeat, what we could have seen. He was in complete control. And I think that's the positive. When he reflects on it, he did everything available to him. And yeah, that was the same driver that dominated with 7 wins. Could have been way more in 2017 in F2. It's so nice that everyone is now seeing that man's talent.
Absolutely. Now, of course, a lot of people will now be putting a face to the famous voice from Formula 2. That win we spoke about of Leclerc a couple of years ago, I can't believe it's 2 years ago already, here, replicated this weekend. Talk us through a first weekend for Formula 2 in 2019.
Yeah, it was great stuff. So started with the feature race, and we've got a lot of experienced guys this year. It's a nice thing about Formula 2, you know this, Will. The really nice thing is you have a few guys who know they're not going to get any further than F2, and then you have the drivers who know they're roaring through, like, let's say, Mick Schumacher, and Russell in the past, and Leclerc as well. And then you get the guys who have to prove it in this season. And Luca Ghiotto and our race winner, Nicholas Latifi, in the feature race, best win of his career.
Well, how many years has Latifi been doing it now?
Well, between the nicely confusing GP2 F2 rebrand, it's about 4 seasons at this level.
So he's palmering it.
Yeah, and he's got to do it now. Now, last year, he had an illness for the test. He was late. Wasn't a great year to be late for the test because it put him on the back foot because it was a brand new car. Now, he said he got to Budapest last year, almost got his eye in, knew what he liked, got himself back into a rhythm. He won the next race in Spa, and then he said his idea, what he wanted to do with testing, was to repeat that form into the second half of the year and then have it this year. he's done exactly that. That was a career best. He won, dominant, class of his own in the feature race on Saturday.
And the podium made up of?
Giotto behind him. Giotto had a problem with his clutch at the start, and then we had Sergio Sette Camara, mistakes in qualifying, and he's in the same team as Latifi, so it could have been a win for him. He hasn't won since 2017. It's like Bottas a couple of weeks ago. Just needs to get rid of that stat. And it was the same guys on the podium today.
Well, this is it. The reverse grid race, obviously they started 8th, 7th and 6th, fought their way through, and Giotto employing that same Leclerc strategy of 2 years ago with the pit stop. Obviously there is no compulsory pit stop in the Sunday race.
Yeah, this is pretty much the only racetrack where you can try it, because the degradation is, to be frankly, bonkers. And Giotto saw what Leclerc did in 2017 and said, I fancy a bit of that. Well, it's one thing to have the pace, it's another thing to deliver it. And he delivered the win with 2 laps to spare, back into the lead, came in halfway through the race, put on the softer tyres, delivered wonderful Charles Leclerc impression. We should call it a Luca Giotto from now on.
Okay. Who leads the championship?
Well, it is very tight up there. Not entirely sure.
I shouldn't have asked you that, should I?
I'm not entirely sure.
Someone leads the championship from someone else and somebody else. Is that fair to say?
I think it's entirely fair to say it is probably Nicholas Latifi and or Luca Giotto.
F2.com, people. Is it F2.com? It is, isn't it? F2.com. Now, we've got to talk about some rookies, because as we say, the experienced heads, as we know on the Pirelli rubber, always come to the fore, particularly here in the heat, because they didn't test in Bahrain, oddly, this year they normally do. The rookies always find it very, very difficult here. However, I think 3 standout performances. If we look at Hubert, the GP3 champion, who had a great Saturday race. I think Zhou was, is it Zhou, I pronounced it correctly, today was phenomenal. And obviously so much pressure and so much focus on one Mick Schumacher.
Yeah, Mick ran his own race. I was actually really impressed. It sounds a bit daft that he dropped down from reverse grid pole. He was just doing things at a pace that suited him. So the really quick guys, the experienced guys, he wasn't bothering with them. He was just trying to bring home the car, score good points. He did that in both races. Hubert in the first race, absolutely electric performance. And great to see that with that new HWA partnership with Arden, they are going to be contenders again, like they were in yesteryear. Look, last year, the reigning GP3 champion went on to become the Formula 2 champion. Hubert in good company.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, mate. Very much appreciate you popping on. And happy birthday for earlier in the week.
Thank you, mate.
Now, this weekend had promised much for Haas. Both cars in the top 10 in qualifying until Romain Grosjean was slapped with a grid penalty for holding up Lando Norris. Both drivers blamed Sebastian Vettel, who had sort of taken the position from Grosjean at the final corner, leading to Grosjean having to back off. Closing speed for Lando Norris. Anyway, meant that Grosjean... Now that's an example of how windy it has been today. Grosjean got the 3-place grid drop that kind of ruined his entire weekend. He took contact on the first lap with Lance Stroll, biffed his whole weekend. Kevin Magnussen, well up in the top 10 in qualifying, probably best of the rest actually in qualifying, and then nothing. Just didn't turn up in the race. No matter what tyres they put on the thing, had nothing, had absolutely nothing. We were confused, he was confused, everyone was confused. Kev, after all of that promise in qualifying, what happened today?
I don't know, we were just nowhere. I mean, we were a little bit skeptical about our race pace after Friday, but honestly I thought we would have corrected that with the changes we made, and it's unbelievable to be able to qualify 6th and best of the rest and then be hopeless in the race like we were. So yeah, not much to say.
Are you worried that it's going to lead to a return to the yo-yoing that you experienced last year? One race great, one race not so hot?
I mean, right now we're just disappointed about the race today, and we need to try and understand why we were so far off in the race and when we were so good in qualifying. So we have some homework to do.
Thank you. Williams had as good a weekend as they might have expected, bringing both cars to the checkered flag. Kubica 2 laps down, George Russell 1 lap down. Similar scenario to that in Australia. Robert is convinced there is something inherently different with his car than that of George Russell. It was a weekend once again of learning and education for both drivers. George Russell, though, finding out things not just about his car.
Well, I actually learned that the vents on your helmet are quite effective, because on my laps in my grid, I was getting a load of sand in my eyes, so I told the guys to tape it up. And as soon as I went out there, I realised, bloody hell, it's quite toasty when you don't have those vents. So I was had to drive the whole race with my whole visor open. So that's probably the biggest thing I learned from that race.
So sand-blasted face at the end of it.
Well, no, it was sand-blasted face at the start, so that's why we put the tape on when we jumped out before the race start. And then I realised they're there for a reason.
Is that the best thing that you learned today? Was it a hard race?
No, I'm sure there's much more we learned from there. I think, like I say, we know where we are at the moment, and it was a fun race for me. I had some nice little battles with Robert, so I'm thankful for the team to let us race, and it was enjoyable. So, like I said, quite a good race from a personal perspective, but still, obviously not too enjoyable finishing P15, P16.
And so we're going to finish with a tale of what might have been. Daniel Ricciardo, with that penalty for Grosjean, started in the top 10. Nico Hülkenberg had a pretty disastrous qualifying and started right down the order, but both found themselves well within the points as the laps were counting down, and then, incredibly, safety cars out on track, because both cars have broken down at turn 1 at the same time. Pretty incredible. They'd had contact with each other earlier in the race. That's how close they got to one another. But it was looking really good. Anyway, here is Nico Hülkenberg at the end of, as we said, a race that promised to be quite incredible, and quite an incredible turnaround for Renault. Nico, what happened?
It just went, I think. It just lost drive very suddenly. It was no, there was no signs before. It just stopped working basically. I don't know. It felt powertrain related, but obviously can't be sure in this point. But yeah, tough. I mean, it would have been too nice, to have that race from 17 to 6. It was a really fun race to be part of today. Lots of battling, lots of overtaking. So it was great fun today. But unfortunately, we didn't get into the finish line.
The promise is there, though, right?
Yeah, definitely. We were competitive, and you saw, that we definitely in the bunch of the midfield, and that we have a competitive package, and we can battle with everyone in the midfield. So some positives, obviously, to take from this weekend, but still, work to be done on just 2 weekends with a lot of hiccups and issues, and we just need to be cleaner in the preparation process and in the whole weekend without problems.
So that's your lot from Paddock Pass. Valtteri Bottas remains your championship leader by 1 point from his teammate Lewis Hamilton, that point being the point for fastest lap that he got in Australia. Fastest lap today was, as if it needs saying, Charles Leclerc, the man of the weekend. He is in 4th place in the drivers' standings, just 1 point behind Max Verstappen. We got a championship. We've got to fight. I think that much is obvious. Lewis Hamilton knows it, Mercedes know it, Ferrari know it, and we all do. This wasn't to be Charles Leclerc's day, but it's coming. He was dominant all weekend. Can't wait for the next race in China, the 1000th Formula One Grand Prix. Who will win it? Honestly, right now, it's anyone's guess, and that's what makes this season so great. We will see you in Shanghai, but for now, that's your lot.